AMOC stands for Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation.
So the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation is a long way of explaining what the sort of overall large-scale circulation pattern in the Atlantic is.
So this thing that we call the AMOC is basically a system of ocean currents that takes warm water in the upper part of the ocean northwards from the equator up to the high latitudes, and then that water cools and gets fresher along that pathway, and then that makes the water sink and it returns southward again at depth.
So most people who understand about the ocean might think about the surface currents like the Gulf Stream, or some people may have heard about the Kuroshio current, and all of these are visible from space when we look at these ocean gyres and we understand them in terms of how the wind is moving the water. But the overturning circulation is largely hidden from us except for ocean instruments, because the overturning circulation involves waters that are initially at the surface, but then they sink, and these waters flow throughout the global ocean, up well in distant parts, and then they return.
The ocean is about 4,000 meters, about a few miles, 3 miles deep on average. And that deep water doesn't see the surface all the time. In fact, it takes hundreds of years for the whole ocean to turn over. And so the AMOC is our oceanographic label for the process by which that deep ocean circulation develops, and water at the bottom gets a chance to come to the surface where it's renewed, where it sees the atmosphere, and then goes back into the deep ocean. So it's the turnover of the whole oceans from surface to bottom.
The Atlantic Ocean transports more heat northwards than the Pacific does, even though it's a really skinny basin, and that's because it's got this overturning circulation, which just doesn't have an analogue in the Pacific.
This movement of heat from the low latitudes to the high latitudes basically makes large parts of the planet habitable in a way that they wouldn't be without the ocean.
And this is the heat engine of the planet.
And so any disruption to that pattern, any change in that overturning circulation means that we're going to have a change then in how that heat is redistributed, which means a change in climate.